And last, and certainly not least, the moment you've been waiting for, Mr. Ricky Riccardi. So thank you all very much for coming out to this. And as I say, take it away.
I'm tired. This is it. We did it. 11 presentations later. Again, I have to speak quick because I heard that the police come if I go longer than 6:15. So, and that's no joke. So, before we all get thrown in jail, let's continue our saga of Louis Armstrong on the Mike Douglas Show. If you were here yesterday, in 1964, a big year. He's playing the trumpet. Hello, Dolly. Everything else is going on. 1970, things are a little different. Armstrong had been in intensive care twice. He had not had any gigs in September 1968. Doctors would not let him play the trumpet. And he had done The Tonight Show. He had done Dick Cavett. He had done David Frost. Those were all filmed in New York. Mike Douglas was filmed in Philly. It's not very far from New York, but Louis's doctors were nervous. All the co-hosts usually did 5 shows, 1 show a day in 1 week. But Louis was so precarious at this point that they would get in the limo, they would drive to Philly, shoot 1 episode, go back to New York, take a week off, blood pressure, check everything, and then go back and do it. Then they put them all together in May of 1970. You wouldn't know it, though. This is some of my favorite Armstrong, singing, same thing like yesterday, telling jokes. We have another cooking segment. If you were here for Joe Darrensborg's gumbo recipe, wait till you see Lucille Armstrong cook red beans and rice. But the first show of the week on May 25th, 1970, was very New Orleans-centric. So we have to start, especially after Gwen Tompkins, the closer there about Louis's last kind of experience in New Orleans, a song with many loaded meanings. Here is the only filmed footage of Louis Armstrong singing "Do You Know What It Means" to Miss New Orleans.
Well, by myself?
Yeah, you do one by yourself.
Well, since we're in New Orleans, I think I just want to do the tune that we did in the picture called New Orleans, I love this tune. That's the one you want to do it, man? Mm-hmm. Little picture there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? I know I'm not wrong. The feeling's getting stronger the longer I stay away. Yes, the moss-colored vines, the tall sugar pines, the mockingbird seems to sing. And I'd like to see that lazy Mississippi hurrying into spring. Oh, the mighty grass, the memories of Creole tunes that fill the air. I dream of old Leanders and June, and I'm wishing that I were there. Yes, you know what it means to miss New Orleans, since that's where you live your heart. And there's something more I miss you when I care for. More than I miss your.
Yeah, so New Orleans is the theme, so Douglas gets Louis on the couch, and it's about a 12-minute segment, which we do not have time for, but we're going to jump right in with Louis talking about the Karnofsky family, his parents, going to church. Some of you might have been here for Scott Wenzel's, he tells a Burt Williams joke, which is pretty funny. And then he talks about New Orleans food and King of the Zulus. Again, everything we've heard this weekend is all being summed up here, but in the man's own words. So let's continue, 1970.
And I love to sing, and like I said, I like to please people, and I used to enjoy going to church with my mother, and And you could hear me singing over everybody. Veins would be coming because I want my friend to hear me outside. You know?
Oh, I see.
And I lived those
Why
days.
did you want your friends to hear you outside?
Well, I'm going to let them know I can sing better than everybody in the church.
Oh, I see.
And the Reverend, he called me up one day and he said, you know, you should be a preacher. I said, well, I don't know. It seems though I should do like Bud Williams did one time. And I told him the story about Bud talking about this old fella out in the field, you know. And he said, the devil caught him out there in the field one day and jumped right up in front of him. He said, look here, Sam, do you like eggs? He said, sure, I like eggs, you know. But when he went away and Sam, oh, didn't the walls of Jericho, the trumpet sound, and holding like that for 40 years. And one day he's out there and the devil appeared again and
40
said,
years later.
40 years later, he appeared and said, how? He said, fried. What the in the wall? Beautiful memory. So the Reverend said, boy, you should be a preacher. And I went up and walked up and down the pulpit and telling it.
You tried it.
Well, I told him that joke and made them all see it. And the Rev didn't have nothing on me because I let off one and the choir started singing and I went back to my seat and helped them sing and everything.
Did the story go over, the one you told?
They go over there, but give me applause in the church.
That's better than a sitting ovation, isn't it?
Well, I mean, to show you you can take with all people of all walks of life.
Yep.
And even at funerals, when our brass band would play a funeral march, you'd stand up there watching the funeral pass and all but cry, man, 'cause them cats blowing from their heart, you know?
What was New Orleans like in those days, Louis?
When my days coming up, I thought it was beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
It was way back there in the early days, and we didn't have much money or anything like that, but we lived, and like you say, enjoyed good food.
You had a lot of fun?
Yeah, my mother could take 15 cents and go to the Partridge Market and come back and cook a meal. I mean, a big, and you have to lick your fingers, it's just so good. You know what I mean?
15 cents?
Yes, sir. In those days, you could take a newspaper, and I'd go to the market, a fish market, and buy a whole newspaper full of fish heads. Just plain chopped off fish heads that they would use to put aside.
Yeah.
For,
That'd be garbage for them, wouldn't it?
well, they just ain't got time to do what we did.
Yeah.
My mother would get the fish heads and take them home and cook them and clean them and cook them and put a lot of tomatoes, canned tomatoes in them and call it cubion, the Creole dish, and serve it on top of some rice. Boy, you talking about beautiful food and delicious.
No kidding.
Yes, she cooked fish, cabbage, red beans and all that. And I remember we were so bold too and healthy because Mama always kept us physic-minded anyhow, you know.
Yeah.
So we could eat hobnails and we wouldn't take sick. And the next morning I go to school with a cabbage sandwich.
Cabbage sandwich?
Cabbage sandwich and good leftover from the night last night.
Yeah.
Kids be begging for a bite.
Did you ever, no kidding.
Yes, you do.
Did you ever get any of that problem?
No,
No?
we don't do that because the next morning I got a fresh stomach to start maybe a pork chop or something, or whatever.
For breakfast, the pork chop?
Anything we can eat for breakfast is all right with us. Glad to get it.
What did your folks do for a living in those days?
Well, the same. We work in the white folks' yard. And I was raised up with Jewish people when I was 7 years old. They had a junkyard. Then they used to go down to the red light district and deliver stone cold 5 cents a water bucket. And I was raised up with even she sing with the little baby. La 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 da.
The Russian lullaby.
I'll join in and sing right along with them.
That's
And they're the one told me, say, you should sing more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because on my side, on the other side of the tracks, they didn't want to hear that. If you can say, look at your mama, and you know, I'm trying to, man, if you would get with me.
You're trying to lay the Russian lullaby on them and they want to tap their foot, right?
Yeah, them guys gambling anyway, they don't want to.
Did your
All
parents...
right, in the interest of time, we're going to move on. Remember the insult comedian Jackie Leonard? Anyone remember him? He comes on and starts giving Lewis the business, and they go back and forth. And well, I don't want to spoil it, but here is Lewis pulling out his Star of David, and you'll see why. The clip will
I used to
explain.
work for Joe Glazer, my
Everybody worked for Joe Glazer. Joe Glazer, may God rest his wonderful soul, is one of my dearest friends. He used to give me $2 a night for Charleston contest, and before he died, he said to me, Jack, I'll give you $3 now.
Where's the good man?
He loved you, Louis. You were long. How long were you with him?
About 40 years.
40 years, man.
Beautiful years.
I don't know how old you are, Louis. They tell me you used to walk George Washington Carver to school every day. But he is a dear man.
He's all yours,
I'm gonna
Louis.
get it.
Take him, Louis.
You can't touch me. I'm Jewish. There's not a lot of these Jewish people. I'll tell you about him.
Tell him what that is. What is that?
I'll tell you what it is. You're a Texas Ranger. That's a Jewish star.
Yeah, and I know just as much about gefilte fish as you do.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So that's day one. Day two, Lewis comes out. And again, no trumpet playing, but boy, could the man sing. And he opens the show by doing St. Louis Blues, one of his all-time classics, but just singing the heck out of it.
So would you welcome Satchmo himself, the great Louis Armstrong.
It's another beautiful blues. I hate to see the evening sun go down. Yes, I hate to see that evening sun go down. 'Cause the gal that I love, she done skipped this town. Now if I'm feeling tomorrow like I feel today, yes, if I feel tomorrow like I feel today, but if you let her walk in that door, and you hear me holler, hey, yeah. St. Louis woman with the diamond ring, there's that man around her apron string. Now it wasn't for father and the snowball hair. Oh, the gal I love, she wouldn't go nowhere, nowhere. Got to St. Louis blues, blues like can be. Yes, my gal got a heart like a rock in the sea. Or else she would not be so far away from me. Yes, I got to St. Louis blues. I got to St. Louis blues. How about that? Yeah, man, I've got to St. Louis blues. I'm St. Louis blues. I said I got to St. Louis blues. Oh, the end. I said I got the St. Louis.
And so day 2 features a very special guest, Lucille Armstrong, on there to cook her recipe, red beans and rice. If you know the saga of Louis and Lucille, she was a Cotton Club dancer, and you know, they're flirting, they're getting a little more involved, but before they officially started dating, this is in Louis's words, he grabbed her finely manicured hands, looked into her eyes, and said, "Can you cook red beans and rice?" And she said yes, and here we are today. So here is another cooking segment, so get your pens and paper ready.
Lucille, this is the moment that we've all been waiting
That's
for.
Cesar Romero over there, too.
Behind the stove,
That's
right?
right.
Daytime
Ham
TV.
hocks and red beans.
Yes, that's Louis' favorite dish, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
Birthmark.
He's,
That's your
so
birthmark?
is chicken and food.
How much does it cost to prepare a meal like this?
Well, Louis, as I say, it's his favorite dish, and he grew up with it as a child in New Orleans, and in those days it was very inexpensive. You could get a pound of beans for 3 cents or 5 cents, and
He said
loaf of
yesterday
bread.
that his mother, instead of ham hocks, used to put fish heads.
no,
No,
not
no?
this.
Wasn't it fish
No,
heads?
that was
Coubillon.
coubillon.
Oh,
This is
coubillon.
another.
Oh.
But the red beans, you have to put the salt pork or the slab bacon.
Okay.
And the ham hocks. I mean, all of these hot meals will fill up a family for you. You know, it'll feed a family.
That's right. What besides this and the red beans and the chicken are some of Louis' favorites?
Louis told me when he married me that I could feed him anything but bananas and cucumbers. I've never had trouble with Louis with food.
Bananas and cucumbers,
He won't eat those.
both of which repeat a lot.
Yeah. Anything else, Louis? He's a very good eater, and he likes simple foods though.
Uh-huh.
He's not.
He
a-
doesn't like the fancy
He's
French
not a
cuisine,
gourmet.
right?
No.
I see.
No.
I'm kind of
No,
I'm kind of that
no,
way too.
no.
Do you like the fancy stuff?
I'll eat anything. I'm very easy to feed.
Does he eat a lot when he's home, Lucille, or just
Louis eats,
3 squares a day, or what?
Well, he has to eat 3 meals a day, but they're not squares. They're a little here, a little, but he has a big. His main meal is a large
The main
meal,
attraction.
and he's not a second helper. Whatever I put on his plate, he eats.
That's
that.
it.
And he
Now, how do
doesn't.
you
He
pre-
doesn't leave manners, as his mother tells him. You know, to leave a little for manners. He doesn't leave manners. He cleans his plate.
Now, how do you prepare
Eat all
these? Are the ham hocks, huh?
Well, to begin with, if you want me, this red beans and rice dish is Louis' favorite, and you start out with your kidney bean, your red kidney bean, and you soak them overnight
In what?
in plain water, cold water. Louis says you have to take the whistle out of them. And so I do. So we'll start with the beans. We'll put the beans in. These beans have been soaked.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So we'll start with the beans.
Whistler's mother soaked them.
Yeah. Now, after that,
How much beans do you put in there?
well, actually, I put all they had here, but actually, I only cook a pound.
A
1
pound.
pound of beans.
And that's when
That'll feed you for a
how
couple
many-
of days.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
You know. And after that, you put your water.
Can you lift that all right?
I'm a little
Here,
weak.
let me take it.
There.
Okay, see, I got it.
You got
All
it?
right,
Yeah, how
just
much of
pour-
that?
Well, you put water to cover.
Oh, to cover. Oh,
Yeah,
You got a
cover
long.
the beans,
You got
so
a
you-
long way to go to
That's
cover those
right.
kids.
You got a
We're
long way
getting
to go
there.
after you eat them, too.
Don't drop the water.
That enough?
All right, that's enough. Yeah, and after that, after you've washed the beans and drained, you put water to cover.
Okay.
Then you add your
Ham hock?
Ha-
Oh,
no.
that's the
I put-
bacon or the salt
the
pork?
bacon or the salt pork.
This is bacon, isn't it?
Well, this is bacon. I prefer bacon. It has a lot more seasoning to
Flavor,
it
yeah.
than salt pork. All you get is salt fat, really. And who
That's
needs all
smoked.
of that? So you just,
Can I help you?
well, I might as
Somebody
well-
got to ask, right?
This is not a bad knife.
No. You catching a bad time with it, let me cut it for you.
No, you haven't been cooking. You eat it.
He's been cooking for a lot of years
I mean-
out in front of that band.
So I
Yeah, but I
dice
used to
this,
burn a
and
lot.
you know, I dice
I'll do that for
Just
you. You
dice.
can move on to the next
Huh?
step, okay?
You
want me to do that?
want to get your hands all greasy?
That's all right. I'm already halfway there.
So you dice it, and it's been diced.
Okay.
Then you put it in the beans.
Okay, we'll pretend that's
All right. Then you put your onion, one small onion. Here's a knife. Peel your onion. Of course, these beans are on the fire, you know.
Oh, yeah. Cook, baby.
Who's gonna eat this?
Anybody that's got a seatbelt, the fancy. Anybody that's tied down.
Honestly, goodness. So you dice your onions, and you cut them up into the beans. I don't want to put the skin in.
Okay.
That's all right. We'll pick it up.
Then you just cut them up in here.
Okay.
Well,
Now, Lucille,
yeah.
Lucille has prepared this earlier because it takes time to prepare this. And this is the finished product.
This I
which-
brought from New York
Let's-
with me.
Did you? Let's
Yeah.
taste it. Now, what do? Put rice on the plate first?
You put rice on the plate, and let Louis show you how to do
No,
that.
you good. I'm watching
Is that
something.
right?
Yeah.
A little more?
So I'm watching
as you
him
want.
put enough. That's enough right,
That enough?
And you put a piece of garlic.
right now.
Do I still talk about
Sure,
this?
please.
All right, then you put some garlic in. I don't like the taste of garlic, so I usually put a toothpick or tie a string around the garlic, and after it's all cooked, I just draw it out of the pot. You know, there's your garlic. And you drop a red pepper pod. This is a very, 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 very strong one, so it depends on how strong, how peppery you like your food. Cut that up in there.
How long do you cook all of this in the pot?
It cooks about, I cook mine about 4 to 5 hours. Now, after this is cooked for about an hour,
You want to take a shot at this? Caesar?
then, after it's cooked about an hour, then you put your ham hocks in.
Here, Louis.
Ham hocks. And you just let it simmer until it's almost done. Then you salt to taste. Then after that, after it's completely done, you add 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce in to give. I like to give the color of the beans back. Once you soak them, you get all the red out. So make them red again, as these are.
Louis,
They make them
Lucille,
red, huh?
and Caesar. Somebody
What?
else wants to taste some of this. And I know he's a good friend of yours, Louis. Here is the most fabulous singer of all time, Mr. Joe Williams. Joe! I know that you want this recipe at home because this is really something special. So send us, if you will, please, a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we will send you back this recipe. Just send your self-addressed stamped envelope to the Mike Douglas Show. Ask for Louis' favorite, the Mike Douglas Show, 1619.
Yeah, I don't think that address works anymore. But New Orleans, tell me, how'd she do? Is it okay? I don't know. She was from the Bronx. But the show ends with a beautiful segment of Louis singing to Lucille, "I'm confessing that I love you." And their marriage had their ups and downs, but he always said that she earned 5 stars in the last couple of years. With his health, she really took over, and what she did for his legacy, again, there wouldn't be an Armstrong house or an archives or anything. So by this point, this is really from the heart here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lucille and Louis Armstrong. And by the way, this is Lucille's. This is her request. This is what she wanted Louis to sing to her. Louis?
I'm confessing that I love you. Tell me, do you love me too? I'm confessing that I need you. Honest, I do. Oh, baby, need you every moment. And your eyes are read some strange things, baby. But your lips deny their truth. Will your answer really change things? Making them blue, making them blue. I'm afraid someday you leave me. Saying, can we still be friends? Bye. If you go, you know you grieve me. All my life on you depends, yeah. Am I guessing that you love me, baby? Dreaming dreams of you in vain, babe. I'm confessing that I love you. Chops. Over again.
Thank you, Louis. Lucille.
Beautiful. Day 3, after all this New Orleans-centric stuff, day 3 opens with a Chicago theme. Douglas was from Chicago, and so Lewis sings Chicago, That Toddlin' Town, which he had never done before, but this is beautiful. Slower tempo than you would expect, and there's a whole coda at the end where he goes through all of his memories of Chicago, Bix Beiderbecke and Erskine Tate, and people love this. The day after the Cubs won the World Series, I uploaded this to my Facebook page. Got like 50,000 views, so it took 100 some odd years for us to find an excuse to show it, but here it is. Chicago.
Himself, Louis Armstrong. You lay some chops on him?
Yeah, well, you know one thing, folks, before I sing this song, you know, Chicago is Mike's hometown.
My hometown, too.
And I had some beautiful moments around there myself. So I'm going to dedicate this number to you.
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Hit it, baby. Yes, Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. I said Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you around, south side that is. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago, yeah. The town that Billy Sunday would not shut down to rough fun. Yes, it was on State Street, that great street. I just want you to know, and that's what I'll say. They do the thing they don't do on Broadway. I saw a man dance with his wife in Chicago. Yes, that's my hometown. That's my hometown. And I'm in the good old days of the Lincoln Garden when I played second trumpet with my idol, Joe King Oliver. And the first symphony orchestra played it with Erskine Tate's Van Dume Orchestra. We used to cut William Tell, and I'd stand up and give old, hit that high note, and give it there, well. And I went around to the sunset when Bix Beiderbecke used to come from the Chicago Theater playing with Paul Whiteman and we'd come up to the sunset and sit in my band. And after the customers leave, we'd lock the door and jam till daybreak. You know I love Chicago. It's my hometown.
Let's move.
Now, a couple of years ago, I did a whole presentation on Louis Armstrong and duets. I mean, the man was the greatest duet partner in the world. Bing Crosby, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, I mean, you name it. How about Lamb Chop? Have you ever seen Louis Armstrong and Lamb Chop? This kind of needs to be seen to be believed. It's ridiculous, but again, Louis is hysterical. I can't even say anything else. This is Louis Armstrong with Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is my co-host Louis Armstrong and Lamb Chops.
Lamb Chop Show.
Excuse me, how do you,
Weston.
how do you know my name?
Huh?
You know my name?
Well, I've been knowing you for a long time now.
Oh,
Is your boy or girl?
I'm a girl. Why do people always ask that? Look at these eyelashes.
Well, I mean,
And they
both
don't
got the
come
same
off
kind of-
either. Ha ha ha, Dee Narrow.
What you chewing? You eat the...
Excuse
Look
me,
here, Lamb Chops.
Louis.
How about us singing a little ditty there?
I don't know any ditties. I know a couple of songs.
Okay.
Yeah, what song?
I'm gonna lead off now, yeah?
You're gonna lead off?
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I cannot sing if you're gonna be working like...
Am I making
my
you
lips.
nervous?
Come on,
It's
let's...
okay for you to move your lips, Louis. Just go
Yeah.
ahead and sing.
Okay.
Yes?
Well, you move yours that way, because you're out there grab something. And when I get to blow that horn, I'm gonna have one lip left there. And that ain't good. Come on, Lamb, you ready?
I'm ready, Louis.
Okay.
Okay.
We are poor little lambs
Is that what you
who have lost our way.
are? Are you the black sheep I always heard about? I didn't know that.
Watch it, baby.
Listen to that,
We are little black sheep
Louis. Yeah, that's what we are.
who
And we
have
gone astray.
Let me riff this one. Baba do baba, that is bad, 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 yeah.
Is that what black sheep
That's
do?
me. Let me see you do that. You can't do that.
No, you know how I go?
How you-
Top that
Is that
satchel.
riffing or what? Gentlemen, songsters, off on the spree. Doomed from here to eternity.
You got a lot of teeth.
What'd you say, man?
I said you got a...
Lord have mercy on such as me.
Let's give him a big end.
Ba, da, ba,
Sing it, baby.
da, da.
Oh, bounty, 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 bounty,
Juice it out. Ba-da.
This is Miss Sherry Lewis, everyone. Miss Sherry Lewis.
Very well, thank
You know,
you. Hey, you sing a song funny, such.
You know what, Lamb Chop, you got to do something to keep up with, Lamb Chop.
Oh, you're way ahead of the game.
you know, Dina said something incredible when you were working. She says, "Is she ad-libbing all this?" I said, "With Louis, how else?" You know he isn't going to stick right to it.
Words, damn it.
I don't know how you do that. Ba ba beep boop beep bop. I was.
You get hungry, you'll do it. You'll do it.
I mean, to me, that's like the greatest explanation of Louis Armstrong, you know. And anytime you question, why did he do something? Well, if you get hungry, you'll do it. I mean, that from a kid, it drove him everything he did. After the ridiculousness of that, Artie Shaw was a guest, and these come from Artie Shaw's mouth, but he tells a few Louis-isms, one-liners that are just hilarious. So here we go.
Oh, that's funny. But when great musicians play, they express through that instrument what they're feeling, you know. And he does that when he plays. And did you do that?
Yeah, well, Louis was oriented in another kind of music from mine. I mean, clarinet's a whole different thing from trumpet, and his playing is a real echo of what he does with his horn.
Mm-hmm.
Mine wouldn't. If I sang, it wouldn't be at all like that.
Yeah, but I sang first before I played
That's right.
the horn.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he always sang.
Quartet would go around the streets, you know, passing
You
the
must
hats.
understand, for a fellow with no voice, he really
Well,
has no
that
voice at
one.
all. Let's not kid around. He sings
So
better
that-
than anybody in the world. For
That was my
something like
hustle
that.
first,
Yeah.
singing, you know.
Have you always had that husky voice, Louis?
Well, yeah, I say hustle, not husky. Well,
Hustle. Ever since Artie dropped that line, I feel we're going somewhere. I don't know why.
Listen, can I tell a funny story? Two funny stories about him.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
about him, that he said.
I
Two
heard
great
one you
lines.
killed me with.
This one is marvelous. Earl Garner, and I found out it was true. Earl Garner was listening to Louis when Louis played at Basin Street East club in New York at that time. And Earl was going out past the dressing rooms. He saw Louis in the dressing room, door open. He stuck his head in. He said, "Hey, Pops, how's everything?" And Louis said, "White folks still in the lead." You remember that? Well, no, right? But he wasn't. Louis just says, man, he comes up. Now, the other one is even better. This is a profound line. This you got to hear. Another friend of mine in Hawaii, you remember Bob Wilson?
Yeah.
Well, Bob and I were in the Navy together, and Bob was always telling me things about Louis. He runs into him. Louis played a concert in Hawaii,
Nice
and he was
brother.
up in his dressing room again in the suite of a hotel, and Bob went up to see him. And the door was opened by Louis. Bob always used to see Doc Pugh around. Doc used to be Louis' dresser.
Yeah.
And Doc, he got the name Doc because Louis is a big pill man. Doc used to administer the pills. See? So Bob said after a while, "Hey, Louis, where's Doc?" And Louis said, "Man, don't you know Doc's dead?" So Bob said, "Dead? What was wrong with him?" And Louis said, "Man, when you're dead, you got everything wrong with you."
Oh, man. So we come to the finale, and I've shown this. I've been doing this 10 years down here, so I've shown this a couple times, but I had to end with it. The final show of the week, they ended with a big jam session. The band, which I haven't mentioned, all Philadelphia musicians, phenomenal. Pianist Joe Harnell was the leader, but they have a jam session. Again, Louis can't play, but he can sing, he can scat, and special guest Sammy Davis Jr., Eddie Miller on tenor saxophone, and Pete Fountain on clarinet. And the clarinet you will see in this clip is currently played by Tim Laughlin. And, well, nothing more to say. Zudi Singleton's in the audience. It's an incredible little clip. They do Basin Street Blues and the Saints.
Okay, here we go, Basin Street. Go, Satchel.
Oh, that's real groovy that time. Now won't you come along with me down the Mississippi? We'll take a boat to the land of dreams, swinging on down to New Orleans.
We got the band here to meet us. They're old pals to greet us.
Oh, man, to dream of.
We'll be mixing in with the elites. Heaven on earth, they call it Basin Street.
Now Basin Street is a street where the folks, they all meet.
Where is it going?
In New Orleans, the land of dreams.
but don't beat that person. I said, Basin Street, that's the way. Is a street, that's the way. Where the folks got a million. By that day, that's the New Orleans. By that
Okay, I want everybody to swing the next number.
Go marching in. When the saints go marching in. Oh, yes, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. Yeah.
We got all the saints right here in this group. When the saints go marching in. Wanna be with old Satch in that number.
In that number.
When the saints go marching in. Look, take it, Sammy.
Saints go marching in. When the saints go marching in now, you know what I want to be. I want to hit the number. I want to hit the number. Saints, yeah. When the saints go marching in. When the saints go marching in. Let me be in that number.
Ice cream will be ready in just a moment.
Oh, when the saints, oh my goodness, I said the saints go marching in. When the saints go marching in.
Judy Singleton in the front row.
Sing to this, sing to this. Sing to this. So much
Well, there's nothing to follow that. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, this weekend. You guys you spoil me rotten, I swear to God. I'm going to fly home tomorrow. The first thing I'm going to do is take out the garbage and do the laundry. And everything will be forgotten. But yeah, this was my 10th anniversary this year. In many ways, this was maybe my most special trip. It's just great. And I love you all and cannot wait to be back. Yoshio Toyama's here. I got people from Japan and Bjorn Barnheim from Sweden. The Armstrong House crew over here. I got the Germany loves me. Hey, got the Avakian family here. Half my Facebook feed. The Millers are in the back of the room. Boy, oh boy, Catherine Russell. It's just too much. I don't know what to say. I love you, and I'll see you next year. Thank you.
Ricky Riccardi, y'all. Ricky Riccardi.
Oh, and the Jacob.
One more time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we want to thank the crew,
Everybody.
Andy, Danny, Joe, Brad, Jennifer, who kept this thing running incredibly smoothly the whole time. We will be back next year with more interesting things, and who knows what movies Ricky will bring.
More to
next
come.
year, so.
More to come.
As we just heard, the Saints have been played. That means it's time for everybody to go enjoy some music, have a couple drinks, eat some food. We'll see you next year.